All right, guys, here we are, Murmaider over there.
What?
And L22 over here. Way to go, Murmaider.
Hey.
We are in our undisclosed secondary location this week. And let's just say, after last week's marathon podcast, we decided we're going to try and keep it short for you guys this week.
Yeah.
Keep it short, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
We got a topic we want to talk about that Murmaider's been burning on today.
Yep.
But quickly, we wanted to recap the Mastodon show.
Yep.
From last week. Mermaider, how was the show?
From what I heard, it was amazing. We were supposed to go. I got very sick for a little bit.
Yep, he was practically dying. He kept asking us to smell his boogers.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you misplaced the tickets. Is that correct?
Yep, no idea. And, had you been able to go, you probably would have killed me. But,
yeah, I would have cried.
First time in my life I've ever misplaced tickets.
Yep.
So neither of us got to go.
Nope.
That's unfortunate, but I heard the show was great, and hopefully they'll be back in the spring, which is what I'm hearing, and we'll get to that. So, Murmaider, you've been bugging me about a topic today. Seriously, been really fucking annoying. Like, oh, L22, let's talk about this, So, okay, fine, we'll talk about it. Murmaider, what do you want to talk about? Your feelings?
Yeah, let's talk about my feelings. No, I just want to talk about, I guess the overall future of metal and where things are going with some of these newer bands. And when I say newer, I'm talking maybe 2 to 3 albums in or earlier than that.
No one with the greatest hits album.
Yes, nothing like that. But I'm just curious to people out there if people are worried that the metal scene is kind of sucking after a while. We have bands like Black Veil Bride.
Black Veil Brides, yeah.
Which I don't even consider metal, but I guess they're being thrown into a genre.
Well, yeah, I had that guy who actually said to me that Black Veil Brides and Avenged Sevenfold are the bright future of metal. And, I admit I threw up a little bit when he said that, but he was dead serious. And this is a guy who really knows his metal, and I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, see, that scares me. We've been coming across a lot of new bands, though, that are, that are really good and are kind of metal that we like. And so that doesn't worry me, but I guess it's ups and downs, but I don't know, I guess it's just, I'm a little worried about where certain people are taking it.
Well, I think the problem with some of those bands, again, we've had this discussion before. I believe it was episode 12, Pretenders to the Throne, where we were talking about the idea of shit metal.
Right.
And these bands that aren't metal that get lumped in. And I think that looking at that, bands like Black Veil Brides, I think they're almost clouding what real metal is, and I think that the transition that a kid makes from rock to metal in his teenage years is going to take longer now because he thinks he's listening to metal.
Right.
He listens to Black Veil Brides and says, "Oh, this is what metal is."
Right.
So then when he hears something like Mastodon, he might go, "Ugh, what is this, death metal?"
Yeah.
Mastodon is a death metal band.
That's
something to think about.
But yeah, seriously, and even think of the kids that are listening to them. Where are they going to be years from now? People who maybe there's kids out there that don't listen to Black Sabbath or Iron Maiden, or they don't check their roots of metal, so they hear Avenged Sevenfold or Disturbed, and they might start writing off of that might inspire them to write similar music, or Five Finger Death Punch. Or
totally forgot about that band. I tried my best.
There's a lot of kids that come in for CDs like that.
And those are the kids who really think that that's true metal, because
Mm-hmm.
they must have never heard an Iron Maiden song,
right?
Or a song by Deep Purple or something like that. They've never heard any of that, and they think that Five Finger Death Punch is just brutal.
Yeah. And then there's still the kids that are listening to Devil Wears Prada and hardcore like that.
Now, I have less of a problem with that, only because I've seen how you went from that into what you listen to now.
Right.
And, I think at least that's moving along the right path.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, the bands like Black Veil Brides and stuff like that, it's almost superseding what real metal is to these kids, because it's accessible too. It's on the radio. It's all over. MTV still talks about shit like that, I guess.
But now, what I think is cool is that there's still bands out there like Black Tide, a young group who they only have 2 full-length albums out right now, 2 studio albums.
Yep.
and they sound. I mean, they're at least their first album. They went really like 80s hair.
Like traditional style metal.
Hair metal,
It's hard to say traditional, but yeah, traditional hair metal. They kept it,
So it's cool that like they're even aware of music like that, you know, and they go out and they did a pretty good job, you know.
Well, and I think that's, when you talk about the future of metal, I think bands like that, if they stick to their guns and keep doing what they're doing, they are the future of metal.
Yeah.
But, we had an interview with Cortland Runyon from North Song, and he was kind of saying, about the American metal scene that more bands need to do their own thing, take music to the next level instead of trying to be the next Avenged Sevenfold.
Right.
And he's exactly right. You got to take it someplace. You have to be able to do something.
That's true. Like, yeah, a lot of people might. Or Black Tide was compared to so many old bands when they came out. Like, oh, these guys sound like Cinderella and all these other bands or whatever. So I mean, yeah, I guess in a sense like that, it kind of sucks. And yeah, you do want to be different than everybody else, but how far do you go and how ridiculous do you sound?
Well, sure, but I guess the key is to pick the genre that you want to do and do it. So, North Song does some great folk.
Right.
It's folk style metal.
Yeah.
You got again, we can't discount Appalachian Winter. He does, kind of the symphonic black metal.
Uh-huh.
And this is where it could go. Young bands can continue to progress the metal genre.
Yeah.
Or they could keep doing the same old shit. We could have 30 clones. When we're twice our age now, we could be hearing that Avenged Sevenfold is classic metal.
Okay.
That would hurt, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that kind of hurt?
Yeah.
That's just terrible. And I think that so much of that depends on the fans. And I don't want to turn this into a piracy debate, but these new bands, like you said, a band like Black Tide, if you don't support them and you don't show them a little bit of love, then eventually the label is going to pressure them to kind of go in a different direction.
Right.
And I didn't listen to their latest album. Honestly, it just came at a time when there was a million other things for me to listen to, so I don't know what they did on the second one. But the first one, we saw them live. And we were both so impressed with what they were doing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as the future, what do you think the future of metal is? Like, what subgenre of metal do you think is going to be the standard?
As far as the standard, I don't know. I guess you can't. I feel like you can't say that. You can't answer that.
Well, think about the shows we've been to, and think about the crowds at these shows. So let's kind of, you go to an Opeth show. Obviously, Opeth is an established band.
Yeah.
But look at the folk metal shows we go to. They're packed. We saw El Wadey, packed. Everyone dancing.
Yeah.
Amon Amarth. We've seen them at, a couple venues, and they're packed.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think that whole folk sect of metal could be what gets, more people into it.
Mm.
But in my eyes, in everything we've listened to, and this was your discovery, Alcest, I think, is doing a kind of metal that's unique, but accessible enough where, we've played it for people at work.
Yeah.
And people who listen to no metal, people who listen to generic radio alternative, and even they like it. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where metal needs to go.
That's what I was thinking, and a lot of people categorize that in like a post-metal genre.
Which
like
seems
Junius.
to be your fixation lately.
I've been listening, Junius and Phallic.
Yeah.
Phallic. Bands like that. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Phallic actually.
Yeah, I can't get that album out of my player.
Yeah.
It's stuck. I can't get it out.
What do you think about power metal? Like, do you think power metal is coming down to like an end?
I don't think it's coming to an end, but I think that there haven't been a lot of great new power metal bands. No. A lot of progressive power metal, which I guess can get lumped in there. You take like Infinita Symphonia,
right,
or Mirath. I think that bands like that could be the next ones to take the genre somewhere.
Oh.
But you're not going to get another Stradivarius right now. I think that European power metal thing seems to be fading away, which is kind of what people seem to classify Stradivarius as, like the European power metal.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. There's never going to be another Blind Guardian.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly. Them, Rhapsody of Fire,
Well, Rhapsody of Fire is now Rhapsody and Rhapsody of Fire again.
Right, they split up.
They just split up, and I guess Luca Turilli has already started his new incarnation of the band. So I think that there's a possibility you could see some good stuff from them, but obviously they're established musicians already.
Yeah, they have their fans and everything.
But what was the last, true new power metal band you heard?
Yeah, I don't know. I really can't think of anything brand new that I've really stumbled upon that's a power metal, like solid power metal.
Yeah. Because I think that I mean, you're right. Maybe that genre is kind of, I don't necessarily think it's dying. I just think it's evolved past
what it
power
was.
metal.
Yeah,
I think now that the bands coming out now, they all do that progressive power metal style.
Right.
Almost like Dream Theater. I think Dream Theater has kind of turned the tide a little bit on that too.
Yeah.
But this is what I think is great, is that I really think that metal has such a bright future one way or another. Think about all these young one-man bands we've reviewed. Astral Winter, Sam Locke, North Song, Appalachian Winter.
Yeah.
All these bands, they are the future of metal. And I think that we can be hopeful that they're going to take the genre in places it needs to go, and they're going to keep metal true to itself and not sell it out for, a record deal that will fall through in the end anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if any of you guys agree or disagree or have any thoughts that you want to share with us, let us know. Email us or leave a comment.
We love getting email from you guys. It happens every now and then, but we want to know who you think the future of metal is.
Yeah.
Except if you're going to say Black Veil Brides or Avenged Sevenfold, just don't email us.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just don't. Couple last things, very quickly, because we're keeping this short, right? We're keeping it short, doing a good job.
Yep.
Light and Darkness Radio. Last week, he played our entire podcast, all 41 minutes of it, and then played songs from all of the albums that we talked about, which was really awesome. So, once again, we tell you, get over there and listen. His playlist will never disappoint you. You'll hear stuff you've never heard before. You'll hear awesome stuff. It's all there. And make sure you like his Facebook and ours, because that's really cool too. And next week, I think I can say with certainty, next week we're going to unveil the sampler.
Yes.
We have the artwork done, the track list is done, it's going to be manufactured, and we're going to unveil the track list to you guys next week.
Yep.
So we'll have a little piece of the podcast just about that. And until then, you slick motherfuckers.
You always say that. Well, all right then.